Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Krishna Jana Ballabha Trivaradhari Gopi Jana Ballabha Trivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Trivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Hare Krishna. Sundays we read the Caitanya-caritamrita, and we also just once a week on Sundays we sing one of these Vaishnav songs, which nobody is, a lot of us have never seen before. I've seen it for a long time, but for those who are newer, it's a chance to introduce these very nice songs. So last week we were singing the part one of this, of the Arunodoya Kirtan, and this week we're doing part two. So I'll sing and then we'll just repeat, and then we'll read the translation, and then we'll go into Caitanya-caritamrita. Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole. Kota Nidra Jayomaya Pishachira Kole Bhajivo Bolia Eshe Sangsara Vitare Bolia Rohile to me Avijaravare Tomare loite ame Koinu avatara Ame bina bandhu ara Keache tomara Eneche asuri maya Nashivaro lagi Harinama Mahamantra Mayotumi Magi Bhakati Vinoda Prabhu Charane Pariya Say Hari Nama Mantra Loyo Magiya Lord Gauranga is calling. Wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up, sleeping souls. You have slept so long on the lap of the witch Maya. You came into this world of birth and death, saying, My Lord, I will certainly worship you. But you have forgotten this promise and remained in great ignorance. I have descended just to save you. Except for me, who is your friend? I have brought the medicine to eradicate the disease of illusion. Now, pray for this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and take it. Bhaktivinoda fell at the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga, and after begging for the holy name, he received that Maha Mantra. This, of course, was written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like the one last week. It was the first part of the song. So, very nice mood. We've fallen into this ocean of material existence, birth and death, and disease and old age. We've fallen into this condition a very long time ago, and it says that we had previously you came into this world of birth and death saying, My Lord, I will certainly worship you. Actually, it's a fact. The child in the womb, at least the fortunate child in the womb, around the 7th month, becomes aware of their surroundings and actually is praying to the Lord like that. Yes. Is actually praying to the Lord that I've once again, because of my past sinful activities, I'm being forced to take birth again. But this time when I come out of this horrible place in the womb, and this horrible place is full of, it's a dirty place. At the time, when I come out of this place, then I will worship you this time. Of course, when the child comes out, and the child is forgets everything because of the trauma of coming out, being forced out like that, and then as soon as, of course, when the child is born, then everyone is oh, this is a cute little kid. It becomes the center of everything in his mind or her mind. It becomes the center of everything, and it forgets everything. But at least that before coming into this being born, the fortunate souls are thinking in this way, that this time I will not make the same mistake. This time I will surrender to you. So that's what's being said here. So now Lord Chaitanya is saying, please, this time, wake up. You've fallen into this condition. Now in this lifetime, please take this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, chant it very sincerely, and so I can take you back to the spiritual world. That's what the song is about. So we on Sundays we read from Caitanya-caritamrita. We just started from the beginning of the whole Caitanya-caritamrita a few weeks back. So we're still in chapter 1 of the Adi Lila. We're in verse 45 as far as I can see here. If I'm repeating something, there's no problem. We then heard to hear it again. Now, the chapter is called the Spiritual Master. Everything starts with the Spiritual Master. Guru Krishna Rupa Hana Shastrera Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhakta Gane. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is not different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. Purport. The relationship of a disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. A spiritual master always represents himself as the humblest servitor of the personality of Godhead, but the disciple must look upon him as a manifested representation of Godhead. It means representing God, not God. Acharyang mang vijnanayang navamanyeta karhichit lamarcha pudya suyeta sarvadeva mayo guru. One should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is a representative of all the demigods. Purport. This is a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 17th chapter, 27th verse, spoken by Lord Krishna when he was questioned by Uddhava regarding the four social and spiritual orders of society. The Lord was specifically instructing how a brahmachari should behave under the care of a spiritual master. A spiritual master is not an enjoyer of facilities offered by his disciples. He is like a parent. Without the attentive service of his parents, a child cannot grow into manhood. Similarly, without the care of the spiritual master, one cannot rise to the plane of transcendental service. The spiritual master is also called Acharya, or a transcendental professor of spiritual science. The Manu Samhita 2.140 explains the duties of an Acharya, describing that a bona fide spiritual master accepts charge of disciples, teaches them the Vedic knowledge with all its intricacies, and gives them their second birth. The ceremony performed to initiate disciple into the study of spiritual science is called Upaniti, or the function of bringing one nearer to the spiritual master. One who cannot be brought nearer to a spiritual master cannot have a sacred thread and thus he is indicated to be a Shudra. The sacred thread on the body of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, is a symbol of initiation by the spiritual master. It is worth nothing if worn merely to boast of high parentage. The duty of the spiritual master is to initiate a disciple with the sacred thread ceremony, and after this sanskara, or purificatory process, the spiritual master actually begins to teach the disciple about the Vedas. A person born a Shudra is not barred from such spiritual initiation, provided he is approved by the spiritual master, who is duly authorized to award a disciple the right to be a Brahmana. If he finds himself perfectly qualified, he finds him to be perfectly qualified. In the Vayu Purana, an acharya is defined as one who knows the import of all Vedic literatures, abides by their rules and regulations, and teaches the disciples to act in the same way. So what are the qualifications of the acharya? You just read it.
Realize in all scripture. They know the purport of Vedic literatures.
And
they have the ability to discriminate and instruct the disciple.
Well, he's received he's received the knowledge, first of all, through the disciplic succession. He's teaching the knowledge as he's received it, and he's also showing by his personal example. Acharya. Acharya means one who teaches by example. Only out of his immense compassion does the personality of Godhead reveal himself as the spiritual master. Therefore, in the dealings of an acharya, there are no activities but those of transcendental loving service to the Lord. He is the supreme personality of servitor Godhead. It is worthwhile to take shelter of such a steady devotee who is called Ashraya Vigraha, or the manifestation or form of the Lord, of whom one must take shelter. So, of course, the spiritual master is not directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is the representative, because he's actually representing in two ways. He's representing by giving the knowledge that comes from Krishna, because Krishna is the source of the beginning of the parampara system, and he's also representing Krishna by showing by living that knowledge. Like we say, the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat, one who's the scripture, and the pure devotee who is living according to that scripture. Okay. If one poses himself as an acharya but does not have an attitude of servitorship to the Lord, he must be considered an offender, and this offensive attitude disqualifies him from being an acharya. The bona fide spiritual master always engages in unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By this test, he is known to be a direct manifestation of the Lord and a genuine representative of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Such a spiritual master is known as Acharyadev, influenced by an envious temperament, and this influenced by an envious temperament, and dissatisfied because of an attitude of sense gratification. Dissatisfied because of an attitude of sense gratification, mundaners criticize a real acharya. In fact, however, a bona fide acharya is non-different from the personality of Godhead, and therefore to envy such an acharya is to envy the personality of Godhead himself. This will produce an effect subversive of transcendental realization. As mentioned previously, a disciple should always respect the spiritual master as a manifestation of Sri Krishna, but at the same time, one should always remember that a spiritual master is never authorized to imitate the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. False spiritual masters pose themselves as identical with Sri Krishna in every respect to exploit the sentiments of their disciples. But such an impersonalist can only mislead their disciples, for their ultimate aim is to become one with the Lord. This is against the principles of devotional cult. So, spiritual master is serving God, serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his only mood is for serving Him. But if someone takes that position as spiritual master and starts acting as though it's like imitating by say performing Krishna's pastimes. Well, I'm guru, so I'm going to dance in the rasa dance. I'm going to do these things because I'm actually Krishna. No, you can't do that. Someone does that, they're definitely not real spiritual master. The real Vedic philosophy is Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, which establishes everything to be simultaneously one with and different from the personality of Godhead. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami confirms that this is the real position of a bona fide spiritual master and says that one should always think of the spiritual master in terms of his intimate relationship with Mukunda, Sri Krishna. Mukunda is the name of Krishna. Srila Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha, verse 213, has clearly explained that a pure devotee's observation of the spiritual master and Lord Shiva. Srila Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha 213 has clearly explained that a pure devotee's observation of the spiritual master and Lord Shiva as being one with the personality of Godhead exist in terms of their being very dear to the Lord, not identical with Him in all respects. Following in the footsteps of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami, later acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have confirmed the same truths. In his prayers to the spiritual master, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms that all the revealed scriptures accept the spiritual master to be identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is very dear. He is a very dear and confidential servant of the Lord. That's referring to the Mongol Arctic song, Sansara Dava, that one of those verses. Huh? Yeah, verse 7, right? Yeah. Yes. Sakshadari Twe Nasamasta Shastri Uttasatava Vita Eva Sadvi Hintu Prabhoya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Sri Charanarindam. So, so the spiritual master is to be respected on the same just as much as we respect Krishna. That's the point. And if we don't do so, then there's no way that we can make spiritual advancement. So this is a very, very important principle here. In his prayers to the spiritual master, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms in all the revealed scriptures except the spiritual master to be identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is a very dear and confidential servant of the Lord. Gaudiya Vaishnavas therefore worship Srila Gurudev, the spiritual master, in the light of his being the servitor of the personality of Godhead. In all the ancient scriptures of devotional service and in the more recent songs of Srila Narottama Das Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and other unalloyed Vaishnavas, the spiritual master is always considered either one of the confidential associates of Srimati Radharani or a manifested representation of Srila Nityananda Prabhu. So, spiritual masters like Srila Prabhupada, for example, are understood to have a very intimate relationship with Krishna, Radharani, or Nityananda. Or Nityananda is said to be the original spiritual master. So that's why the spiritual master is also representing Lord Nityananda. So, next verse. Shiksha Guru Keta Jane Krishnera Swarupa Antoyami Bhakta Shreshta Edui Rupa. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna, for Krishna manifests himself as the super soul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. Super soul, Krishna in the heart, and is the greatest devotee of the Lord, referring to the spiritual master. Purport. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami states that the instructing spiritual master is a bona fide representative of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna himself teaches us as the instructing spiritual master. Sri Krishna himself teaches us as the instructing spiritual master from within and without. From within, he teaches as Paramatma, our constant companion, and from without, he teaches us from the Bhagavad Gita as the instructing spiritual master. So, there are two kinds of instructing spiritual masters. One is the liberated person, fully absorbed in meditation and devotional service, and the other is he who invokes the disciples' spiritual consciousness by means of relevant instructions. Thus, the instructions in the science of devotion are differentiated in terms of the objective and subjective ways of understanding. The Acharya, in the true sense of the term, who is authorized to deliver Krishna, enriches the disciple with full spiritual knowledge and thus awakens him to the activities of devotional service. When by learning from the self-realized spiritual master, one actually engages himself in the service of Lord Vishnu, functional devotional service begins. The procedures of this devotional service are known as abhideya, or actions one is duty-bound to perform. So, I'll finish the purport and then we can touch on that one. Our only shelter is the Supreme Lord, and one who teaches how to approach Krishna is a functioning form of the personality of Godhead. There is no difference between the shelter-giving Supreme Lord and the initiating and instructing spiritual masters. If one foolishly discriminates between them, he commits an offense in the discharge of devotional service. Srila Sanatana Goswami is the ideal spiritual master, for he delivers one he delivers one the shelter of the lotus feet of Madan Mohan. Even though one may be unable to travel on the field of Vrindavan due to forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can get an adequate opportunity to stay in Vrindavan and derive all spiritual benefits by the mercy of Sanatana Goswami. Sri Govindaji acts exactly like the Shiksha Guru, instructing spiritual master, by teaching Arjuna the Bhagavad Gita. He is the original preceptor, for he gives us instructions and an opportunity to serve him. The initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govindadev Vigraha. Both of these deities are worshipped at Vrindavan. Srila Gopinath is the ultimate attraction in spiritual realization. So there are go back to this word abhideya. They're all Vedic knowledge ultimately can be broken down into these three principles: sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. So sambandha means relationship, basically. Sambandha means we have to, before to do anything in spiritual life, we have to have some understanding of relationship. Relationship means understand that I'm a spirit soul, I am a servant of Krishna. Krishna's God, and I'm a spirit soul. He's a very tiny jiva soul. The material nature is all under the control of Krishna, and it's meant to be used in His service. And Krishna is, of course, the creator of everything, including the spiritual world. These are some basics, but we have to have some understanding, some basic understanding. So that's why we study the philosophy. So we can start off with getting some understanding of our relationship with Krishna and with Krishna's energies. So that's sambandha. And then, if we don't have that, we can't move forward. Second stage is sambandha abhideya. Abhideya means the process, bhakti yoga. We're following the process of bhakti yoga, and by practicing bhakti yoga, we are gradually becoming Krishna conscious. And of course that can go on for a very long time, depending on how serious or not serious we are. But abhideya is the process of purification, of becoming Krishna conscious. And prayojana. Prayojana means the ultimate goal. Ultimate goal, of course, is to have pure love of Krishna. So by following the path of abhideya, then we gradually come to the perfectional stage, which is prayojana, which means we develop pure love for Krishna. So sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. And these particular categories of knowledge or levels of realization, they are also represented by certain deities of Krishna. Vigraha means like the deity form. So, um, um, Madan Mohan deity. These deities are in Vrindavan. You can go. You still go and see the deities in Vrindavan, in India. So these Madan Mohan, and then um, Govindaji is another deity there, which is through whose mood, through whose mercy, we can develop, you know, the path. We can progress on the path of abhidheya, or the path of devotional service. And then Gopinath is another deity, also there, who we can, by whose mercy, we can eventually come to the point of pure love of Krishna. Of course, they're all Krishna, all forms of Krishna, but they are certain deities that are especially represent these different phases of development in spiritual life. I have no idea what time it is. What time is it now?
8:23.
Okay. Maybe I'll read another verse or two, and then open up for some questions. Naivo payanti Naivo payant yapicham kavyas tavesha Brahmayu shapi kritang vida buddha smarantaha yontar bahistanu pritang ashubham vidubham acharya chaitya chapusha swagating vinakshi. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged life of Brahma, for you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. Purport. This verse is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 29th chapter, verse 6. Was spoken by Jai Shishi Gaurnitai, Shishi Radha, Brajavihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, and Shrigane Prahlad Maharaj Ki. Purport. This verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 29th chapter, verse 6, was spoken by Sri Uddhava after he heard from Sri Krishna all necessary instructions about yoga. Teshang satata yuktanang bhajatang priti purvakam tatami buddha yogam tang yenamang upayanti te. This is the Bhagavad Gita verse. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Purport. This verse of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 10, clearly states how Govinda Dev instructs his bona fide devotee. The Lord declares that by enlightenment and theistic knowledge, he awards attachment for him to those who constantly engage in his transcendental loving service. This awakening of divine consciousness enthralls a devotee who thus relishes his eternal transcendental mellow. Such an awakening is awarded only to those convinced of devotional service about the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead. They know that the supreme truth, the all spiritual, all powerful person, is one without a second and has fully transcendental senses. He is a fountainhead of all emanations. Such pure devotees, always merged in knowledge of Krishna and absorbed in Krishna consciousness, exchange thoughts and realizations as great scientists exchange their views. And discuss the results of their research in scientific academies. Such exchanges of thoughts in regard to Krishna give pleasure to the Lord, who thus favors such devotees with all enlightenment. Um, that's referring to another verse. There are 4 verses for they're called the Chatur Shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. They're like the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. It's 4 verses. They're chapter 10, verses 8, 9, 10, and 11. So of those verses, 9, the second of those 4 verses, Machchita madkata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantaschamang nityang tushanti cha ramanti cha. This is Krishna speaking, of course, Bhagavad Gita. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. And then followed up with the verse that we just read. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Lord Krishna is actually very pleased when we're doing what we're doing right now. We're studying the philosophy. We're discussing the philosophy. We're giving speaking our realizations of the philosophy, which realization means is real. So we can't just come up with something that's not actually the philosophy and say it's my realization. But Krishna is very happy to see groups of devotees coming together, sitting down, trying to understand this knowledge about him and discussing it back and forth like that. Srila writes, we just read, like a scientist, material scientist. Scientists they do their research, they get their certain results, they talk about their different results, and they have discussions like that. So in practicing Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna is very happy to see where someone is actually trying to understand him, trying to understand the philosophy, discussing it, asking questions, getting some answers, and because Krishna is in the center. Krishna likes to be in the center. When we want to be in the center, then it's called egoism or false egoism. For us, it's actually false ego. But Krishna, that's his position. He is in the center, whether we like it or not. And if we recognize Krishna as being in the center of everything, he's the source of everything. He's the center of everything. He's the most important personality anywhere. So if we recognize that and we are coming together and we're having discussions and trying to better understand Krishna or better glorify Krishna like that, then Krishna becomes very happy with that. And he gives us all kinds of blessings because he sees that we're coming together and trying to think and understand him better and understand how to serve him better. That's the principle that we're talking about here. So Krishna doesn't have false ego. Krishna's ego is the real ego, and our real ego, when we purify our false ego, then our real ego is that in that mood of that I'm just simply humble servant of Krishna, and I want to dedicate my life, my energy, my thoughts, everything to the service of Lord Krishna. That's the mood that we want to develop, and that's the only mood that will be ultimately completely satisfied in, make Krishna really make Krishna the whole center of our whole existence. He is the center, but we have to develop the mood and the consciousness that he is, recognizing him as such. Okay, I think I'll stop speaking here. Any questions, comments? No? Let's see. And nothing from outside either. Okay, well, no problem. So tomorrow we'll be back on Srimad Bhagavatam. And Caitanya-caritamrita is very, it's deep. Caitanya-caritamrita is actually the postgraduate study. It's like the PhD. You go to school, you go to college, you get your bachelor's degree, then you get your master's degree, and then you get your PhD degree if you go that far. So Caitanya-caritamrita is like that PhD degree. It's pretty deep. And yet what we're reading here is very, very important, and we have to learn to we have to understand it actually so that we can progress. These first things are very basic information. So we do need to study Caitanya-caritamrita, and we do need to study Srimad Bhagavatam, and we do need to study Bhagavad Gita, Shri Upanishad, and so on.
For example, if we go and do our regular job, 9 to 5, how can we make Krishna the center of all of these activities?
Ah, okay, you're doing the regular job.
Yes.
Well, you're
Somewhere outside the outcome, so how can we keep that mindset?
well, you're earning money for what purpose?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, you have a job to earn money. So what are you earning your money? And speak into the microphone.
Well, first of all, just to be able to sustain the physical body, the family, right? If we have any kind of obligations, but the end purpose always is to do it for Krishna.
For Krishna. So say you have family. You got children, husband, wife, like that. Who's asking the question? You have family, and your family, you want them to be as a devotee family, let's say. So if you have a devotee family, if you're a devotee, you have a devotee family, and you're working, so you're earning money, so you can take care of your family, but the real purpose of what one does if they have family is they try to help their family members to become Krishna conscious. So the work itself may not be specifically a Krishna conscious purpose, a Krishna conscious activity you're selling, like that. It's not going to the Hare Krishna temple or something like that. But you're working you're making money, and you're in your family. Of course, you're eating, so it has to be prasadam, so which is you're offering to Krishna. You're you having some different families are different, but say you're maintaining your house, right, or your apartment, whatever. So so the family has a place to be there, and in your house, you can also be when you're not working, you can come together and have little discussions, like we have our class here. So in a family, in a home, you can have your discussions about Krishna from the same books that we're reading here. You can chant together in the house, but you have to spend money to maintain the house. So that way, your money that you're earning it goes in that way.
Yeah, see, I so it's really, in a way, we're actually at some point maintaining the last ashram, our small ashram.
Yes. Yes, you need money to you need money to maintain anything in the material world. It's just so if you're using that money, if you're using that facility that you're maintaining, and to in Krishna's service, and that way your whole purpose for earning money is to help maintain and encourage the Krishna consciousness in your family, for example. Or if you make enough money, you can give some money to the temple, or of course there's the Krishna conscious activities, like that. So that's how you do it. we have an example of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, for example, his family also was Krishna conscious family. And one of his sons became Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master. So he had a very responsible job. He was a judge, high court judge at that time in India. And he would, so he earned, I don't know I'm not sure how much he earned, but he took care of his family. His whole family were devotees. And he used his time and his money. His whole life was just for giving Krishna consciousness. So he would work at his job as a judge. He was given as a judge, in the system then, each judge was given a certain amount, what do you call it, caseload, I guess you call it, a certain number of people, a certain number of cases he got to hear. So he was very quick. He was very efficient. So they would give him so many, 10, 20, I don't know how, say 10 cases in the morning that he had to hear. So he got that. He was very smart. He was thought very quickly. He knew the law. So he would hear the case. He would make a decision quickly to make the decision. He would write up the report himself. He didn't wait for somebody else to do it for him. And he went on to the next case. So in half the time that that others would take for those cases, he finished. And then he went home, refreshed a little bit, and engaged in his other Krishna conscious activities, which could be, he did a lot of writing, so maybe some writing was done at that time. I don't know exactly what he did, but he
In the afternoons, he would go do house programs. He would go to the village on horseback and go to this house, that house, and then do
well, yeah, he also had to go back in the afternoon. Twice he was there at the court. So no, twice. But he used his time. He used his time very efficiently, and of course his money was towards taking care of an obviously Krishna conscious family. And within his lifetime, even with his very heavy schedule and a very big family, how many children did he have?
6 or 7.
I think it's more than that.
Wow, really?
7 or 8.
Oh.
Anyway, he had big family. Can you imagine? These days we struggle with if someone has one child or two. It's just like how do we do this? But but he had a very large family and a very big job. So he did that big job, and he also took care of his family very nicely. And within his lifetime, amongst other things that he did, he wrote 100 Krishna conscious books, including books were full of songs like the one we sang today. He wrote this song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So that's a super example that we cannot, but we can be inspired by it at least. So how do you do your job and remember Krishna? That was what he did. Anything else?
Just an interesting point about Abhideva and Sambandha. So I guess Sanatana Swami is the...
Oh, speaking to the microphone so they can, those who are hearing this later on can hear it.
Sanatana Swami is the Acharya of Sambandha Tattva, and his book is Caitanya-caritamrita, which is the story of Gopal Kumar. So it's like Gopal Kumar wasn't satisfied, so he had a Sambandha. He went to Vaikuntha, he went to this, he went there, he was never satisfied until he reached God. So then you see Sri Rupa Goswami, who's Abhideva Tattva Acharya. In his book, like Bhakti Rasa, Nectar of Devotion, he's given the 64 forms of devotion, all the different ways of practice, so that even in their literature, in the teachings, they represent those three things from the class. But I don't know much about Prayojan.
Prayojan is the final conclusion of it, yes.
But who is it? Whose deity is Gopinath? You know?
I don't recall which of the Goswamis.
It's in Jaipur now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are definitely over time. So we'll end here for today. Tomorrow we'll be back on the next verse on Srimad Bhagavatam. And